Ciao, it's Alex, the Bookubus. Today I am incredibly excited to announce Giallo July, which is a Readathon, Watchathon event that I created to celebrate all things Giallo. This will be taking place during the month of July, and I am joined by two awesome co-hosts, Kelsey at Slime and Slashers and Bert at Storytime. I will leave their channels linked below. Please do go check their channels out if you haven't already for some crazy reason, because they're amazing, and I'm so excited that they are joining me for this. Their announcement videos will also be linked below, so please do go give them a watch. So the concept of Giallo July is basically, I love a good theme for a month of reading or watching certain things, and a few years ago my husband and I were coming up with some fun ideas, and when the month of July was brought up, the obvious choice was Giallo. So I did my own Giallo July a few years ago where I just kind of dove into a bunch of films that I had not watched before. And recently, sometime last year, I got to thinking about doing it again, but I thought this time around, why not make it into an event that other people can join in with? And it was actually, I think, last September that I messaged Kelsey and Bert about this to see if they would be interested in joining me. So yeah, it's been a while coming. Anyway, in this video, I am going to be talking about the prompts that we have for books and films. I'll talk a little bit about what Giallo is if you aren't already familiar, and I'll also be going through some recommendations that fit the prompts, and also some other bonus ones that might not fit prompts, but I would recommend them anyway. So I've got my black lace, a la Blood and Black Lace. I've got my black leather gloves with a fur trim, because, if you're going to go on a killing spree, why not do it in style? And I will say it's probably best not to take a shot of J&B whiskey every time I say Giallo in this video, because that could get pretty messy pretty quickly. I am going to take the gloves off now though, because it is quite warm. We have 4 prompts, and these can be used for both the books and the films. And we have Giallo, yellow on the cover, the bird with the crystal plumage, an animal in the title or on the cover, all the colours of the dark, a colour in the title, and the Red Queen kills 7 times, a violent word in the title. So think things like kill, murder, knife, that kind of thing. The prompts are just for fun as well, you don't have to use them. I'm still putting together my list of books and films that I want to check out, and there are definitely some already on the list that don't actually fit any prompts, but they just fit the general theme, so that's totally fine too. So if you aren't already familiar with the genre of Giallo, it is basically a term that comes from the Italian word for yellow. The reason that the colour yellow is now tied to this genre is because of, back in the 1920s, 1929 to be exact, a company in Italy called Mondadori started publishing crime and mystery novels by authors like Agatha Christie and Edgar Wallace. All of these, classic whodunit kind of mysteries, and they were published in books with yellow covers, and that then kind of became known as the term for that genre. The term Giallo is probably more well known for the film side of things rather than the books, and in the 1960s some films that became known as Giallo basically were inspired by these types of stories, and the directors really had this really interesting style to these kind of stories and the filmmaking, and so we have ended up with tropes like a masked killer and killer POV shots, usually wearing black leather gloves. They're very stylish, have great use of colour and lighting, and there's usually red herrings as well, like any good murder mystery would have. Some of them are quiet and clever, Some of them are gory and sleazy, some of them are a combination of all of those things. So there is a wide variety within Giallo, but I do think that a Giallo film is a bit more specific than a Giallo book would be. So for the purposes of this event, Giallo July, the films that I would recommend watching would be ones classed as Giallo or Giallo adjacent. I'm not going to be putting up any kind of list for this. I'm definitely not going to be gatekeeping what is or isn't Giallo. You can definitely find tons of lists online, and I'm no expert in the genre, but I am a big fan. So yeah, that's why I wanted to create this event. And book-wise, this is really open to any crime, mystery or thriller novel. If you specifically wanted to read some that Mondadori published in Italy, there is a link below. It is over multiple pages, and I know when I load them it comes up in Italian language, so you might need to translate it, but that's a really cool resource if you're wanting to pick some, you know, authentic, as it were, Giallo novels. But really it is open to any crime, mystery, thriller books of any era as well. So very open on the book side of things. I think it's just a bit more specific on the film side of things, and encouraging people to get into the Giallo genre if you haven't watched any before, or if you're already a fan, then yeah, revisit some favourites, watch some ones that you haven't seen before. Yeah, hopefully it will be a good time. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about some recommendations for each of the prompts, both books and films, and some of these I have not read or watched before, so they're more suggestions than personal recommendations, but at the end I will be adding in a few personal recommendations. Of course, this isn't any kind of definitive list, but just to give you a few ideas, and yeah, just as an illustration that there are plenty of other options out there that will fit the prompts. So the first prompt, a Giallo, is yellow on the cover. And book-wise, we've got The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by Stieg Larsson. I have read that, loved it. Intensity by Dean Koontz. I have also read that and remember it being really good. The Boy from the Woods by Harlan Coben. The Yellow Room by Mary Roberts Reinhardt. And The Feathered Serpent by Edgar Wallace. Film-wise, we have Tenebrae, The Fifth Chord, House with the Laughing Windows, Blood and Black Lace, and Torso. I've seen all but The Fifth Chord, and yeah, would definitely recommend all of those. The second prompt is The Bird with the Crystal Plumage, an animal in the title or on the cover. So book-wise, we've got The Case of the Careless Kitten by Earl Stanley Gardner. This is a Perry Mason title, and I think there are a bunch of other titles in that series that also have animals in the title. The Pale Horse by Agatha Christie. Three Blind Mice by Ed McBain. The Shape of Snakes by Minette Walters. And The Wasp by Ursula Curtis. Film-wise, we've got The Bird with the Crystal Plumage, Don't Torture a Duckling, Lizard in a Woman's Skin, The Case of the Scorpion's Tail, and Stage Fright, which might not have an animal in the title, but it's got it on the cover. I've seen all but The Case of the Scorpion's Tail, and again, yeah, would definitely recommend all of those. Prompt number 3 is All the Colours of the Dark, a colour in the title. So book-wise, some options are The Bride Wore Black by Cornell Woolridge, Death in a White Tie by Nio Marsh, The Black Dahlia by James Elroy, Something Blue by Charlotte Armstrong, and The Man in the Brown Suit by Agatha Christie. Film-wise, we've got Deep Red, The Red Queen Kills 7 Times, Four Flies on Grey Velvet, Crimes of the Black Cat, and Black Belly of the Tarantula. Yeah, I've seen the first 3, again, would recommend, so yeah, I need to check out the last 2 though. And the fourth prompt is The Red Queen Kills 7 Times, a violent word in the title, so you can interpret that however you wish really. We have got options book-wise like The Benson Murder Case by S.S. Van Dyne. This was actually, if I got my information correct, the first book published in Italy by Mondadori, which became, yeah, known as the Giallo genre. So I might actually try and check that one out. I think that would be really interesting. Other options could be A Penknife in My Heart by Nicholas Blake, Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. I have read that one and it was great. Killing Mr. Griffin by Lois Duncan, if you want to go for a bit of YA. And Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. Film-wise, we have The New York Ripper, Strip Nude for Your Killer, Who Saw Her Die, The Case of the Bloody Iris, and Bay of Blood. So yeah, different ways to interpret violent word, and I've not seen Strip Nude for Your Killer, but I'll need to check that one out. The other ones I would definitely recommend. So moving on to some other recommendations that I have definitely read and watched and would recommend. These might not all fit any of the prompts, but like I said, you don't have to pick things that fit the prompts. You can definitely just go with the Giallo vibe and yeah, pick things that you want to read or watch that fit that. So a few that I would recommend are The Sitterford Mystery by Agatha Christie. I mean, it's got this amazing skull on the cover, so already off to a good start. And this one is your classic murder mystery. We have a group of people who perform like some kind of seance, and it seems to predict a murder. And then this person in question is found dead, so what's that all about? And we have a detective on the case, and there are also, if I'm remembering correctly, we have one or two other characters who are not part of the police force, but they are trying to investigate this murder for their own personal reasons. I remember really enjoying this one, so yeah, would recommend. Another great one is Falling Angel by William Hjortsberg, which originally came out in 1978. This is a noir, private detective kind of situation. It's set in New York, and yeah, he's investigating something that leads him into a world of voodoo and black magic. Really excellent stuff, and the film Angel Heart was based on this, so some things are definitely changed, but I really enjoyed the book. Out by Natsuo Kirino is a Japanese novel that originally came out in 1997, and this is about a group of co-workers. One of them kills her husband and turns to her co-workers to help cover it up. And yeah, it's been some years since I read this one, but I remember it being an excellent read, and yeah, another one I would recommend. A bit of a more recent one from 2018 is Fashion Victims by R. St. Clair, our very own Regina from Regina's Haunted Library. And I remember thinking this one had some Giallo vibes when I read it, so would be a great pick for this event. And this one is set in the New York City fashion scene, and people are being picked off one by one. We're following the detective on the case, along with a fashion designer and a model. And yeah, I remember really enjoying this one too, so would definitely recommend it. And I also wanted to mention Penance by Eliza Clark. This just came out last year, and I read it last year, and it was one of my favourite books of the whole year. This one is written as though it's a true crime case, and it's following some teenage girls and the murder of another teenage girl. This one does go to some dark places, but yeah, it's a very well-crafted novel and one that I just did not want to put down. Okay, onto some films. The first three I think are classics of the genre and essential viewing, not in a gatekeeping sense, I just mean they're fantastic. And if you're new to the genre, these would be an excellent place to start. If you are already a fan but you haven't seen these, then yeah, I would just highly recommend giving them a go. So we've got Blood and Black Lace, directed by Mario Bava from 1964. This is one of the early examples of Giallo films, and yeah, just absolutely wonderful. It's also set in the world of fashion. And then two Dario Argento films, The Bird with the Crystal Plumage from 1970 and Deep Red from 1975. These are two of my personal favourite Giallo films. Yeah, they're just so well done, so clever and excellent and super stylish. Yeah, love them so much. And then two more recommendations. One of them is not a blanket recommendation. It is The New York Ripper, directed by Lucio Fulci from 1982. If you are someone who is not turned off by the term sleazefest, then this is one for you, but otherwise you might want to skip it. And one more recommendation is Knife Plus Heart from 2018, directed by Yann Gonzalez. This is a French neo-giallo, so you don't have to just stick with the kind of classic era of giallo, or specifically Italian giallo films. You can definitely watch other films from other eras and other countries. This one is set in the 70s in the porn industry. It's very stylish and has a really great soundtrack by M83. Yeah, really enjoyed this one. Would definitely recommend it. Okay, a few more book suggestions. I have not read these, but these are ones that are more modern books inspired by giallo films. So we've got Dead Girl Blues by David Sodergren, 5 Deaths for 7 Songbirds by John Everson, and an anthology, Giallo Fantastique, by Ross E. Lockhart. So yeah, they all sound really interesting, and yeah, maybe if you're a fan of giallo films, you might want to check these books out. So I think that's about it for this video. I know that was kind of a lot of information, but really it's a pretty simple event. There are 4 prompts. You don't even have to go with the prompts if you don't want to, but yeah, like I said before, if you're already a fan of the giallo genre, then this is a great excuse to just, yeah, dive into it and revisit some favorites or check out some films you haven't seen before. And yeah, I'm not much of a crime mystery thriller reader anymore. I probably used to read them more before I got back into the horror genre, and then just rarely read anything else. But I do read the occasional one from time to time, and I'm actually really excited to dive into some books from this genre that, yeah, I don't read a ton of. So I'm eagerly putting my TBR together, and we'll definitely share that with you soon. Like I said before, please do go check out my co-hosts Kelsey and Bert and their announcement videos. They will also be sharing recommendations, so you'll definitely don't want to miss those videos. They will all be linked below. And also there is a collaboration video that's going to be coming out soon with giallo film recommendations, not from just us 3, but also a bunch of other giallo fan friends. I am so excited for this video, I can't even tell you, so you definitely don't want to miss that. One more thing, if you are going to be joining in, you can use the hashtag Giallo July on whatever social media you want to use. I did check on Instagram and it looks like it has been used before. I was a little disappointed that I wasn't the first person to come up with the idea of Giallo July, but hey, it doesn't seem like there's been any kind of specific event surrounding that name before, so I think we can still go ahead and use it for the purposes of this one. One more thing is I decided to throw the Giallo July logo up on Bonfire, so if you would like a t-shirt with the logo on, now is your chance. I will leave a link to that below as well. Don't know if there'd be any interest, but I personally really wanted one, so I was like, I'm just gonna throw it up there, and if anyone else wants one too, then you can absolutely go for it. So that is my announcement for Giallo July. I really hope some of you will be able to join in. I am very much looking forward to it. Like I said, it's been kind of like a long time in the works and have just been waiting and waiting for July to roll around again so I can actually do it. So yeah, at the moment I'm in the preparing my list of books and films that I want to check out stage, which is very exciting. If you are joining in and you are making a video about it, please feel free to tag me in it so I don't miss it. If you have any questions, please do feel free to ask in the comments below and I will do my best to answer them. Grazie mille for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and hopefully I will see you again in my next video. Ciao!